The meeting is now called to order. Can we please all stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Burke?
Here.
Mr. Sakala?
Here.
Mrs. Dye?
Here.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Here.
And Mr. Mandela?
Here. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Cedar Grove Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be advertised by having the date, time, place thereof posted on bulletin boards in the district, published and or transmitted to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and Cedar Grove and Star Ledger newspapers, filed with the township clerk and posted on the district's website. The meeting is open to the public for comments for items on the agenda. Seeing none, I close that portion of the meeting. Committee reports this evening?
I have two.
Okay.
I know you're surprised. Let's see. Last week, I attended the Gifted and Talented presentation that Mrs. Hill hosted at the Memorial Middle School. And I had never been to one before, but from what I understand, it was very efficiently run, which I thought too, because it was about an hour. So the way she had it is she had each of the grades from 3rd through 8th have a presentation, and it could only be 10 minutes long, which was great. She separated all of the parents and gave them a number when you walked through the door, and then everybody was separated by groups, and then you rotated at the end of 10 minutes. So everybody kind of just shuffled along, and it worked really well, and we were done in an hour. And it was really, really impressive because the 3rd graders, there were, I think, 4 of them, and they did a presentation on space and different characters. There was a presentation on philosophers. There was a very exciting presentation on trying to break a bridge. And that one was kind of cool. That was the first one, maybe that's why I remember it so well. But I guess it was the 7th graders had to construct a bridge, and then they had to, I guess, try to break it. And what they did is they had to weigh it down with like some kind of weights. And they were up to, I don't know, 300 and something weights, and the bridge just hadn't broken, and it was very exciting. And so anyway, so I thought it was great. I thought the kids did a great job. I thought Mrs. Hill did an excellent job at just the way she handled it and the way everything was done, and I had a great time. And it was short, which was good too.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm. I also, it was a busy week, I attended the South End FSA meeting. It was the last meeting of the school year. And they had, every year they give 2 scholarships. It used to be known as the South End Scholarship, but a few years ago it was renamed for the Carolyn Balayak, I'm not pronouncing that correct, scholarship in honor of the 3rd grade teacher who had passed away a few years ago. So there were 2 scholarship winners. One was present, and she read her scholarship. It was Erica O'Hagan, and who is going to go to Rowan University. And she talked about how when she was in elementary school, she had been diagnosed with ADD, and talked about how she overcame it at South End, and how what she did, and how she's going to become a teacher, and it was great, to be honest with you. And then the second winner was Michael Rowe, who also had his essay, which I can't remember offhand what the topic was, but I read it, and he couldn't be present. And all in all, there were 12 essays that had been presented, and 2 winners. So that was very exciting. There were a couple of parents who were recognized because they were finally leaving South End, some of them after like 10 years of just going through the system. So that was kind of nice. There was a big discussion on how South End was going to spend the money that they had raised throughout the year. They had about $5,000, and it wasn't one of the big fundraising years for South End. They kind of came to the conclusion that they were going to kind of table it for a little bit and then talk about it in the fall and find out if there was anything that people needed. And then finally, there was talk about, they had piloted a new lunch program called Simply Gourmet, I think was the name of it. And they piloted it for, I think it was a week and a half, and there was a lot more choices and things like that. A lot more expensive, though, than the previous one. And then there was a big debate as far as with new either state or federal rules. And I have a note here to ask Renee about this. There are new regulations coming about, and I know Jill Spiegel, who's the president of the FSA, was supposed to
She
meet with
stopped
Renee.
in.
Did she?
She stopped
Okay.
And we discussed the nutritional guidelines.
Right.
And Simply Gourmet needs to follow those guidelines, the same as our current food service provider in the middle and the high school. And, they are working on gathering assurance that should they choose to go with Simply Gourmet, they will do that. They'll meet that, because when the Bureau of Nutrition comes in to audit us, which could be next school year, 13-14, if not 13-14, then definitely 14-15, we've been put on the list that they would audit those two the South End program for that lunch program to make sure they are in compliance with the standards.
So that's the takeaway I got from that.
Are they moving forward with that?
They were still talking about it. I mean, they just piloted, I think it was like the last week in May and the half a week in June or something like that. And I think they were looking to get feedback from parents, because they hadn't gotten that yet. So I know kids were kind of excited because they could have pancakes for lunch and things
Very
like
excited.
that. Absolutely.
Kids are very excited.
Right.
It's a little bit more expensive.
It was a little bit more expensive. You pay like $1 more for the cookie. It's not included. And
So is it outsourced? Somebody else is doing it, or
it's
is
through,
it
yeah,
still
it's through a
parent?
company. No, it's
Oh.
not parent at all. It's this
Okay.
company, and the good thing about it is they actually package it for your child, so it comes like in a box or whatever with your kid's name on it, so there's no putting things together, who's got a plain bagel, who's got the cream cheese, and running like a nut trying to get it from the other side of the gym. Another good thing is they actually offer allergy specific cookies. Like there was one child who can't even be near a peanut, and they actually have special kind of cookies. I think they're $2 a cookie that are perfectly safe. So that was kind of good, and they have some gluten-free options as well. But I think cost could be a factor, to be honest with you. I mean, and I'm speaking as a parent, it's definitely more expensive.
But it's optional.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
It's
right.
hot
But
lunch.
that's the hot lunch option. So, whereas now it's it's a little bit cheaper, but you don't have to commit to 5 days a week. I mean, I happened to be talking to some parents at the FSA meeting, and they said that obviously, if this became an option, that maybe they would choose like 2 days a week or something like that.
You don't have to because it's all pre-done, that's right. Right, and you can order, a couple days in advance, so you don't have to commit weeks out.
Right. And there's, definitely a lot more options. I mean, now, Friday was bagel day, so, you get a bagel or maybe you can get a salad, whereas, now Friday you can choose from 8 different things, whatever you want, so.
Yeah, the kids like it.
Yeah, the kids really liked it, but, so anyway, to be continued, but that was the story on the new lunch program.
Great,
Yep.
thank you. Anyone else?
I attended the North End FSA meeting last week, and that was also the last one of the year. They started it with an appreciation reception for all the volunteers, which is always very nice. And North End also awarded 2 scholarships, and those recipients were Courtney Buckworth and Dan Finelli.
Oh, nice. I like those, I attended last year's. I like
Yeah.
hearing their essays and stuff. It's pretty cool. They're not doing any hot lunch in North End?
No, they remain on the 2-day-a-week hot lunch program.
Still.
Just asking.
And it's very profitable for the North End FSA.
South Enders getting charged.
I don't know how profitable it'll be at the South End. You would think it about electric cookies that it might be, but I don't know what we'll be charged.
Any others, reports? I just have one. I attended the rec board meeting, and besides talking about the pool admission and, enrollment and where they are, because that's usually the biggest topic at the board, is talking about the pool and what's going on at the pool. But what came up there, as you know, that we all spoke about already, just in our conversations, but just for the public to know, it was brought to the attention, to my attention, since I'm the board liaison, or we always have one board liaison at the rec board meetings, talking about our the way we do the field requests, and we've been looking at that. If you've been listening to our board meetings or just hearing talk throughout the community, we already a few months back have divided the fields usage and have numbered them now, instead of just saying North End, and then you think that you have all of North End. We now actually have it broken down and numbered because it's so big and we did the same thing at South End and so on at all the schools. So that way, when you're going in for a permit, you are specifying what field you want. Because a lot of times, people just assume the field was taken because a softball permit was taken or a baseball permit was taken, but then you had the rest of the whole area that no one was using. So that was one area we looked at already and we've defined. But it was brought to my attention that sometimes the process of getting a permit may not be as clear. Our permit application is 5 pages long. Even the hours, administrators might be available to actually talk about, getting the permit or finding out if you were approved for a permit. So just the whole process in general was brought to my attention, and the board has agreed, because all of this is done through the business office. We will be looking at or possibly revamping the process and just digging deeper of what needs to be done to accommodate a lot of the requests that come in. So stay tuned. We'll hopefully have everything, by the time we come back into our session in August, but it's definitely a priority, and we're looking into that. So that was a lot of the discussion at the rec board meeting, where people just giving their input of things that we should think about and look at, and I agreed with them, so that's what I brought back, behind the scenes, so just for the public to know that that's what we're doing. So that's pretty much the rec board. Okay, moving on the agenda. I'm just going to jump ahead right now before I get into the whole agenda. I just wanted to do one area of the agenda and make it a little bit more special at this time, because I think it is special, because we're moving in pretty quickly, and there's some changes happening. And one of the biggest changes that we have is our new superintendent will be announcing tonight, and I'm sure now all of you've seen the agenda, and I know that it went out last night because I got bombarded by the newspaper right away, and a lot of people just texting me. But I wanted to jump ahead and do the approval and welcome Mr. Featherman to the board team, and just give a little bit of background on the process to the community, because maybe a lot of you don't know. But the board, I don't remember the total number of applications we received. I do know that at the end of the day, we had 26 applications that were actually eligible because of the requirements that we put out there, the criteria for the superintendent's position. So I forgot the total number that we had originally, but at the end of the day, we had 26 applications to look at that were eligible for the position. And out of that 26, we narrowed it down to 5. We spent a few hours going through all of the applications, and we did our pros and cons, and we narrowed it down to 5 applicants for the first round. So with that, after the first round, believe it or not, one had canceled their appointment with us and never, rescheduled. So we had 4 interviews, and after the 4 interviews, we considered, bringing back, a couple of other candidates just to make sure we went through the process thoroughly. And it was pretty unanimous that, we felt, why go through the process just to do it? I could tell you that Mr. Featherman totally blew us away during the interview process. It was the knowledge that he brings on not only the educational front, the core standards and what's coming down the pike, and just knowing education is amazing. Even though Mr. Featherman's been the principal at the high school for 4 years, a lot of times you don't get a chance to shine. And he knew that he had to shine, and I could tell you that he really shone brighter than we ever anticipated. So his passion for the position, working with the kids, just came through just hearing him talk. Going through the questions, it just was natural. And it was, I just sat there and I said, I don't need to go any further. I really don't need another interview. It was just that, it was just a perfect fit. And I can tell you, it was just really a good thing the whole time. And then, when we had a more informal interview the second time, and that's when you heard his vision for the district and his ideas and how he works, how he works and what his leadership styles are. And that even more just put the icing on the cake, because it really fits in to what this board is really looking for this district. And we just want to take the ball and keep running with it, and we have the perfect guy in the position to just keep it going. So with that, I'd like to make a motion for S, and then all the other board members can speak after we do this. I'd just like to make a motion for S3, and that is a motion to approve the contract of Michael Featherman, Acting Superintendent of Cedar Grove School District, effective April 29th, 2013 through June 30th, as approved in the County Executive of Schools. And then, that's the acting, so that's that one, sorry. So now S14 is to approve the contract of employment between the Board of Education, S4, what did I say? Oh, S4. Effective July 1st, for July 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2016. The contract received the prior approval of the County Superintendent of Essex County. So with that, I'd like to congratulate you, and we're looking forward to a lot of good things.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I think you even have your name. So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
We already welcomed him, right?
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Mandela, Teresa has something for Mr. Featherman
Okay.
from the board. So.
Great.
Thank you so much.
You can open it. I'll put it out. Yes, you can.
Card first, is there a card? I know. The card first, my wife's staring at me. I guess now it's official.
Now it's.
That's it. All right. Thank you.
So other board members, comments?
I just want to, I've already said it personally, but I'll say publicly, congratulations. We, know that good things are on the horizon, and there's no doubt that, in my mind, and I'm sure the rest of the boards, if they can speak for themselves, no doubt in my mind that you're going to take us to new heights. So congratulations, and I'm looking forward. Glad I'm running again. I'm looking forward to my next 3 years on the board, serving alongside you.
Thank you.
Just two things that I want to mention, and I think it's pretty important for people to hear. Going through the interview process, it's kind of interesting, the different personalities that, the people from the people that you're interviewing. There were two things that really stuck out. I can say this, right?
Oh, God.
From the interviews? Well, I'm gonna anyway. I don't care. Okay.
I was trying to weigh my words too.
I know. I'm going to say them because I think it's important to know. One of the questions was, this is in the informal, when, it was a little bit more relaxed, and we said, what do you bring? What will you bring to the district as a superintendent? And one thing that he said, most people say my enthusiasm or my knowledge of the curriculum, and one thing he said was integrity. And, that's just something that really stuck out in my mind, and it's not an answer that I was expecting, but I think it was important, and I think it's important for, all of our district employees to know, and also our community. And another thing that stuck out, and this really wasn't part of the interview process, but as you're going through and you're talking with fellow board members, and I think some people were sold before others, but there was one incident that I think might have sold the rest of the board. It wasn't even during the interview. It was a decision that he made as an acting superintendent, and the position that he came from, and an explanation that he gave as an acting superintendent sitting on this side of the table as opposed to the interviewee on that side, and just seeing the way he handled himself, the decision that he made, and the explanation that he gave to the board and to the board president, which I don't know if, it was exactly what he wanted to hear, the way he wanted to hear it, but, he stood his ground, and he really did prove, that he did have integrity in the decision that he made. And I think that was important for the board to see him in action on this side of the table. So I think that was also another incident that proved that he is going to be a true leader of the district. So that wasn't giving up any.
Oh, that was good. That was fine.
So welcome permanently for the next 3 years. And I have to echo kind of what Mr. Sakala said, I'm running again as well, and being on the board another 3 years, I'm re-energized. And I think that's important for all of us and for the school district. So I think that's awesome. So thank you.
I do too.
Guess we're going in a row, right? I guess for me, I saw this whole process as, one of the most important things that we can do as a board is pretty much be tasked with hiring the next superintendent. And I really honestly felt that it was going to be a much more difficult and longer task than it really ended up being. And it's because we had the right person all along. And I'm really glad for that. And just, I guess, being able to see it from, acting superintendent, you didn't just sit in the chair. You actually jumped in and you went to work, not knowing if, you were going to get the job or if we were going to say, see you, thanks, but no thanks. And the high school stayed together, and you've gone above and beyond what was expected as acting superintendent. And for me, that was a lot, that we put you there, you volunteered to help us out, and you did more than just keep the seat warm. And I think that was really, really impressive. And with that being said, the district, there's no learning curve. Get to work, because we're not letting you, all right. So congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good. At this time, too, during the meeting, there is cake and cookies and water for people to help themselves through the meeting and afterwards as well. So with that, we're going to move on the agenda. Okay? Unless you have a few words to say right now.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind,
Yeah.
there's some people I need to thank. At the risk of compromising all that's been said here, I've never been one to, crave the limelight. Being the center of attention has never been my thing. But I don't shy away from it either. And I like the fact that at the end of the day, when we're together with the team, this team, and clearly one of the critical cogs is Ms. Tavernier, and I see the team members out there, I know that we sit together and we make decisions together. And at the end of the day, I'm okay with being that guy, that person who ultimately makes the decision. I'm very comfortable with that. But the limelight is really not for me. So that's why I'm energized as well, because being a part of this team, reassures me that I'm not going it alone, and that the decisions we make are collaborative ones in the best interests of, I know it sounds cliche, but of our teachers and most importantly, our kids in the community. That's what we're about. Not what I'm about, it's what we're about. I can't thank the board enough for the opportunity. Ms. Tavernier, we have someone special. I like to say she knows things. She knows things. And so do many of you out there, my friends and my family, my wife. You've been so supportive, Michelle, Teresa. I'm going to leave some of you out, and I apologize for that, but you know who you are. You've not only given me, emotional support, through a tough process, but just, you name it, the support's been there. Anything I've asked for, and even things that I haven't asked for, they've been provided. So what better place could I be right now than right here as your superintendent? And again, thank you to the board for this opportunity. You will not regret it. Thank you.
Just one thing before we go on the agenda. Mike said something just now, and I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the board as well. During this time when he was acting superintendent, there was not one moment where the board doubted that the whole team would pull together during the time that Dr. Polis was not here. And I'd like to take the opportunity to thank a lot of the central office that's here. We don't have an opportunity to be all together at one time. The confidence that the board had from day one, we knew that Michelle and Teresa and with Mary Lynn and special ed and Mr. Kinney, and at the time Lynn, Miss DiMatteo was, she still is a supervisor with Mr. Coster. And then even the principals at all the schools, we just knew this team, when we first had the meeting that we would have an acting superintendent, Mr. Sakala and I met with the team. After we didn't even leave the room, and they just came together, sat at the table, and started just discussing how they were going to work together and get through the next couple of months. Mr. Sakala and I walked out of there, and we just knew that we were going to be fine as a district, and there wasn't going to be one hiccup, and it didn't happen. And it's amazing how well everything is run. So on behalf of the board, I want to thank all of you that are here tonight and some of the other administrators that are not here. We can't thank you enough because it's been unbelievable, and it has run so smoothly, and we just have the best people in place, and I just wanted to take that time to thank you. So with that, we're going to move on now. Okay, may I have a motion under the Secretary and Business Administrator, under minutes B1 through B4, and that's a motion to approve the public and executive minutes of June 3rd, a motion to approve budgetary transfers for the month of June, a motion to approve the Treasurer and Board Secretary's report for the month of May, and B4 is a motion that certifies that no account line has been overexpended during the month of June.
So
Motion.
moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye. Under bills, may I have a motion for B5, and that's a motion to pay the list of bills as noted.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye. May I have a motion under business for B6 through B19? And that's a motion to disperse funds from the various scholarship accounts as listed. It's a motion, B7, just to summarize, states that after the school year and all the budgetary items have been closed and set forth, that we will not exceed the amount of $400,000 to put into our capital reserve funds. B8 is resolved that in accordance with the employment agreement with said employee number, that the following unused sick days and vacation days will be paid. B9 is a motion to approve the one-year contract between Cedar Grove Board of Education and Dial Pest Control. B10 is a motion to accept $17,000 donation from Memorial Middle School FSA to be used toward the purchase of 32 notebooks, one notebook cart, and one printer. B11 is a motion to approve Vanguard Medical for July 1st through June 30th, 2014. B12 is a motion to accept a kind donation from New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance. B13 is a motion to accept a kind donation of $1,600 from Cedar Grove High School APT. B14 is a motion to approve the 2013-2014 annual contract with Northwest Evaluation Association. B15 is a motion to approve AmeriHealth Administrators as a Cedar Grove Board of Education's COBRA Administrator for the 2013-2014 school year. B16 is a motion to approve Brockwell and Carrington's payment application number, which is number 13 in the final, and that's the final payment in the amount as listed, and that's for the completion of the Cedar Grove High School, all the bond referendum issues. B17 is a motion to authorize the submission of the IDEA application. B18 is a motion to approve the submission of the New Jersey Department of Education school self-assessment for anti-bullying rights. And B19 is a motion whereas the Board of Education has been assessed taxes on the 520 Prompton Avenue property, and this is just given the payment that we discussed for all the Washington Academy issues. And I believe we have added motions, I forgot about.
3 additional motions.
That's under business, and this was what we discussed during executive session. B20 is, this falls under, just for the public's knowledge, I don't know if you have this, the next 3 motions that we're going to approve, I don't know if you've been following, but we've had a company come in and give us ideas of how to make the schools safer, and just to follow, give us ideas of, actually that's what it is. So what we have chosen to do, and hopefully some of the work will get done over the summer, what we're going to approve are communication systems for North End and South End School. So now when announcements are made, for example, if there was a shutdown or a lockdown in the building, right now it was only internally in the classrooms. Now it will be heard throughout the hallways, the bathrooms, even externally, both at North End and the South End. That's already done at the high school and at the middle school. The next motion will be for video cameras, surveillance cameras at all 4 schools exterior, because right now we do not have that at, is that also at the high school? Yes, so it's all 4 schools. And then the third motion is for, help me on this one, I forget the last one, the 59,000.
Okay, that is for, I'm just looking at it because I don't have it memorized.
Yeah, I
It's
forgot.
for the installation of the exterior security cameras.
What was the 22,
That was for
the-
just at the high school.
Oh,
right,
okay,
Mr.
so
The
they
other
were
Mendola?
both
ones, all the
security
other
cameras.
three.
One is, they're all separate, I'm
Right.
sorry. One is for the high school, that'll be 29,000 and change, and then the last one will be for the other schools. So with that being said, this will include motion B20, B21, and B22. So again, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to talk about B12 for 1 second. I happened to be in the board office, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but there was a picture of this gigantic machine sitting on Michelle's desk. And she showed it to me, and I looked at it, and I said, what is this? And then Mr. Featherman came out, and you can probably explain it better, so I'll ask you to take the reins on it about what happened and how this came about.
Sure, it's in the superintendent's report, one of the first bulleted items there. Got a group of our students, Chris Bailey, Michael Brown, Alyssa Finelli, Rebecca Rissman, and Samantha Stroganoff, as well as Connor West, entered a contest called You Got Brains. It's basically a safe driving contest. And their initiative was basically don't commit a distraction infraction. So they put together this video, super talented group of sophomores, and they won an $18,000 driving simulator.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
It's huge. I mean, it's a sofa chair with all of these video panels, and where we're going to put it, we just don't know. It's awesome. It's going to be great. Yeah.
And it's sitting in the board office?
Renee's
Well,
office right
there's
now?
a picture
of
I don't
it.
know where
There's
it
a
is now, but
picture.
I just saw the
We didn't get it
picture.
yet. It's on the way. It's on the way.
All right, good deal. So roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye. Mr. Featherman, superintendent's report, please.
Yes. As you see there, the attached report is quite lengthy. The first bulleted item is a bit of business that I'm required to take care of twice a year, once in January, once in June, and it entails an HIB, the Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying Summary Reports by school. At the South End School, we had 2 reported incidents of harassment, intimidation, and/or bullying since January, both unconfirmed. At the North End School, 3 reported incidents. 2 were investigated and unconfirmed, 1 investigated and confirmed to be of that nature. At Memorial Middle School, since January, 12 reported incidences, 6 unconfirmed, 6 confirmed. And lastly, at Cedar Grove High School, 3 reported incidences, 3 unconfirmed. Moving on to the good stuff. As we just talked about, the driver simulator, just what a fantastic accomplishment by that group of sophomores. Fantastic. Also, special recognition to David Njoku. Don't know if you know this or not, but he was selected to participate in the New Balance National Outdoor Track and Field Championships at AT&T University down in Greensboro, North Carolina. A special thank you to the board for supporting that endeavor. Hundreds of dollars went to this cause. We are grateful. The Njoku family extends their thank you. David did not do as well as he could have, admittedly, after speaking with him, but he did do well. He placed in both the high jump and the triple. College acceptances. Please see the attached. I believe you have that there as well. We couldn't be more proud of the colleges and universities that our graduates will be attending this fall. Of the 93 that we will graduate next week, 91 of them are on to 4 or 2-year colleges or universities. Just to name a few, we have Cornell University, Bucknell University, Lehigh, the George Washington University. Again, just to name a few. The list is impressive. It's quite a group of seniors, and we could not be more proud of them. So take a look at that list when you get a chance. That's where they're going. They're matriculated, accepted, on the way. It's big time. The Parnassium, which is our literary magazine, is posted on our website for your viewing. It's a collection of poetry, student artwork, photographs. Please check that out. Beautiful full-color display, again, on our website. Just a quick note about our June 5th local scholarship ceremony. Many of you were there. I thank you for attending. In all, 150 scholarships were given out that totaled over $88,000. So again, thank you to those in participation and to those organizations that donated towards our kids' futures. Moving on briefly to Memorial Middle School. As Mr. Mangili will tell you, the year ended with a slew of grade-level field trips, including a visit to the Intrepid Museum, the Rocking Horse Ranch, and Forest Lodge. Again, there are so many things to list here. At your leisure, please peruse the list. Turning the page, on Monday, June 10th, the Memorial Middle School Cultural Arts Committee had a science day. Wow. I mean, what could be more exciting than squeezing out a little vitreous humor from a cow eye? I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that. I mean, the retinal wall, stop, please.
I heard it was wow.
It was awesome. From meteorology to Alka-Seltzer bottle rockets to the laser show, what a great job. Again, thank you to the FSA and all the volunteers. What a program. Just briefly, down the list there, congratulations to David Altschul and Diane Morganti, who participated in the Cedar Grove High School All-School Council Charity Walk this past weekend. They were the top walkers. They walked what seemed like all night long to raise money for the Russo family. As many of you know, Christina is fighting the good fight against leukemia. So again, our school comes together, our community comes together, not just the high school, but the middle school. And again, thank you to all who participated. Briefly, at the North End School, their calendar was filled as well with activities, including but not limited to the annual spring concert, the family picnic, the magician, Kids in Motion, puppet show, on and on it goes. We've got some great things going on. Cross-curricular end-of-year projects, tying together various strands of language arts, math, and social studies. Again, the list is long. Please enjoy. And lastly, the South End School. Students in grade 4, just again, some highlights, participated in the third and final phase of the Heroes and Cool Kids program, facilitated, once again, you see the theme here. It's community-based, it's vertically articulated from school to school. It involved 8th grade students, the high school. The Heroes program is fantastic. On June 10th, the FSA Cultural Arts Committee arranged for a wonderful assembly put on by the pushcart players. Children had a ball. And certainly last but not least, we just wanted to let you know we are thinking about Miss Martin, who's recovering from a severe injury that she suffered while hiking near her home. And of course, our youngsters have been working on projects and get well cards to get her back here with a speedy recovery.
Wow, I didn't know she had hurt.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Please tell her the board's,
Sure will.
wow. Thank you, Mr. Featherman. As Mr. Featherman said, his superintendent's report is always posted on the district's website, and it's definitely an in-depth piece of reading, so take your time because it'll really bring you up to date on everything that's going on. If he sat here and went through everything, we would be here for 2 hours. So that's why we just give you the overviews. But please, it's always on our website. May I have a motion under personnel and the superintendent for S1 through S16? And that is a motion to approve the superintendent's report. It's a motion to approve the contract of Ms. Renee Tavernier as the school business administrator for the school year of 2013-2014 at the salary that's listed. We already did S3 and S4. May I have a motion for S5? And that's to approve the employment of Mr. Bart Pearson as a language arts supervisor beginning August 26th. Through June 30th, 2014. It's a motion to rescind the appointment of Christina Nicastro as assistant girls volleyball coach, and S7 is to approve Christina Nicastro as the girls varsity volleyball coach. S8 is a motion to approve Alicia Angione as the girls junior varsity volleyball coach. A motion to approve Catherine Ralston, girls junior varsity assistant cheering coach. A motion to approve the staff as listed for summer custodial maintenance. It's a motion to approve the staff as listed in accordance with the state emergent hiring procedures. S12 is a motion to approve the overnight trip upon first reading to AT&T University. It's a motion, S13, to approve the one-time payment of 19 accrued vacation days for 2012-2013 school year for the employee number as listed. It's a motion to approve the one-time payment of 6 accrued vacation days for 2012-2013 school year for the employee number as listed. It's a motion to approve the resignation of Mr. David Coster, supervisor, math and science, effective June 28th. And S16 is a motion to approve the attendance to the events as listed. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye. Before we move any further on the agenda, I'd like to take the time again to make a personal comment, and the board is open to any members open to make comments as well. I guess I'll start with the sadness, and then I'll go on to the good. We'll start with the bad and then end on the good. I'd like to first thank Mr. Coster for everything that he has done for our district. It's when I heard that he was leaving us, I was so upset, and I just was really disappointed. But for him, I'm happy. He's moving on to, a promotion with where he's going, and, we wish him well, of course, but you are always welcome back here. So if you are not happy for one moment, just pick up that phone and call our new superintendent, because there's no questions. So, but I was very disappointed, but I was happy for you. So thank you for all you've done, for us in this district, and there's only great things ahead of you, I know that, so thank you on behalf of the board. And then on a happy note, we have Mr. Bart Pearson joining, now he'll be the team for now, and he'll be working with whoever that may be for mathematics, science and mathematics. But Mr. Pearson, it's sort of bittersweet, you getting this position. You do know that, because we are losing an unbelievable language arts teacher at the middle school. The students that did not have the opportunity to have Mr. Pearson as a teacher, they're missing out. Both of my children were fortunate enough to have him, and just his reputation throughout the community is unbelievable. And it's always like, from the student's perspective, when they get that notice of who they have, it's like, oh no, I did not get Mr. Pearson. But the parents are like, yes, you got Mr. Pearson. So it's bittersweet with that, but it's also great because now he will be the supervisor for language arts and doing the whole curriculum for the whole district, so that's a great thing. So congratulations on your appointment, and we look forward to all great things, because you're going to be busy with all the stuff that's coming down. So congratulations. Any other board member comments?
Well, I had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Coster the other day, and I'll just echo some of what I said to him. And as happy as an evening, this evening is for us, welcoming our new superintendent, it also is very bittersweet, because we are losing somebody who we really relied on, and we knew was unbelievable doing an unbelievable job in the capacity that you were working, and we are very, very happy for you, and we are very, very sad for us. So congratulations on your new position, and good luck. And as Mr. Mandela said, just the phone call away. If you ever want to come back, we'd be waiting with open arms.
Okay, moving on. Oh, yeah, I didn't know. You guys sit quietly, so I don't know if you want me to
Quietly?
move
How
on
should we get a word
or what
in?
you want me to do.
Jump on the
Like, you got to be a little bit more animated or something.
Wait,
I just
Laura.
want okay, briefly. I just want to say, this is, we didn't put we created the positions of supervisors not too long ago, a couple years ago, and it was something, they were positions that I was really passionate about. I thought that it was important to have that type of role in the school district, and it's just wonderful to know that our first supervisors are now going on to principals and assistant principals in another district. But it's good to know that that was a really nice launch pad for greater things, so congratulations.
Can I move on now? Okay.
Wait.
Moving
No,
on.
I'm good.
Okay. Moving on the agenda under curriculum, may I have a motion for S17 through S19? And that's a motion to approve curriculum writing for 2013-2014 school year for the, the course study that's listed, and a motion to approve guidance summer work as listed for the employees as listed, and S19 is a motion to approve the textbooks as for recommendations for the high school and grade 7 and grade 2.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. Should
Yes.
I wave? Just for my own curiosity, so there's some books here for high school, there's one for grade 7, and there's one for grade 2. Did we already approve other ones, or are these just new, or why are these standing out? Should I ask the old language art person, the new one? Maybe I'll ask Mr. Kastner, maybe he knows.
They're new additions. They're new additions to the high school. The high school teachers felt that they needed new novels to align with Common Core more, so we ordered those to begin with. And grade 7 is adding a new summer reading.
I bought it already, so I'm just curious,
Right.
okay.
And then grade 2, if you recall, we wanted to bring the novel study down.
Right.
Last year we did 3-4, this year we're doing 2, and possibly we may have enough to even do some grade 1
Okay,
this year, for next year.
Got it. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye. Under contracts, may I have a motion for S20 through S22? And that's a motion to approve the parent transportation as listed for ESY for student number as listed. It's a motion to approve special education settlement agreement between the Cedar Grove Board of Education and the parents of student number as listed. And it's a motion to approve the contracts for the 2013 and 14 school year for special education students as listed. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye. May I have a motion for under policy for P23? And that's a motion to approve upon first reading the regulation 2464, which has to do the gifted and talented pupils. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Featherman, is this something you wanted to just give a summary on for upon first reading so the public is aware? This has to do with, I just wanted to make sure. This was going back to Mrs. Hill's presentation of the last meeting. That's what this upon first reading. Okay. And then we have to have a second reading, so we would wait until our
Till
August. Okay. Is there anything that needs to be implemented between now and then in the regulations?
I think so. No, we're good.
No? Okay, great. So may I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye. The meeting is open to the public for comments on or off the agenda. No one? Really? Wow, I thought something was going to be said with this crowd. Okay, I closed that portion of the meeting. Future meeting announcements. As you know, we'll be on a break finally. Our next meeting will be August 27th here at North End Media Center. Our executive meeting will start at 7. Our regular meeting will be at 8. And then September 10th will be our next meeting. And again, 7 p.m. will be our executive, and 8 p.m. will be our regular meeting. The board may I have a motion for E2, and that's a motion for the board to adjourn into executive session to discuss a personnel matter relative to the bargaining agreements for the teacher, custodian, secretarial, administrative, and non-bargaining employees.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Sakala?
Yes.
Mrs. Dye?
Yes.
Mrs. Marinelli?
Aye.
And Mr. Mandela?
Aye. Before I adjourn the meeting, I just want to wish everyone a safe and healthy summer. Enjoy, relax, and we'll see you in September. The meeting is
August.
adjourned. August for us.
August, what we got?
I meant them returning.